Welcome, everybody. My name is Mike Sheehy. I'm a founding member and the current president of the Greater Louisville Pride Foundation, who started the Hometown Heroes program. Glad you're here. We got a nice morning. I want to first recognize the Jones family, who's here, to the back here. Also want to recognize a few people, dignitaries in the audience. Councilman Stuart Benson, Dan Syme, Councilman Dan Syme Jr., and he brought along his dad. Everybody knows Dan Syme Sr., retired senator. Thank you, sir, for being here. Also want to recognize Ted Wathen, who took this great photograph back here. Yeah. And I want to thank any of the Hometown Heroes Advisory Board members that are in the audience. Appreciate all your help. It's purely volunteer work, and they do a great job. Came over here this past weekend and brought my wife and family, and they thought it was awesome. Hope everybody's as excited as we are. But especially want to thank Alex Burns, Executive Director of the Downtown Family Y, and longtime President and CEO Steve Tarver, who just told me he's been with the Y over 50 years, and he's retiring at the end of this year. So thank you. Yep. Just a quick background about the program. I know you all realize that, it's over 20 years old now, and it's still surprises me. I'm excited and thrilled. When we started this thing, it was to build pride in the community, and the way we did that was to recognize, folks that are from our community, either have born and raised here or have spent a lot of their time and dedication to our community, and have gone beyond the boundaries of the city of Louisville, and created pride for us and everybody that comes through our city. They're all heroes to us. Well, so we're proud and excited. David Jones Sr., who's done so much for this community through the years, and it's long overdue, as our next hometown hero for the class of 2023. Now it's my honor and pleasure to introduce Mayor Greenberg for some comments.
Thank you so much, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here, and thanks so much to the Greater Louisville Pride Foundation for their work on this really fun and important and impactful Hometown Heroes program. It is so important that we as a city celebrate people who have made important contributions to our city. And there is no doubt that any list of Louisvillians who've had a significant positive impact on the life and future of Louisville must include David Jones Sr. Because what it says, that's right, perfect timing, because what it says on the banner is true. In some ways, we are all living in David's Louisville because he has helped shape the city that we all call home. In business, the company that he founded that we all know of, Humana, has employed generations and thousands of Louisvillians. He was a fierce competitor in business, and going back to his days playing basketball at the Y and competing as a Golden Gloves boxer as a boy growing up in West Louisville. And it was that drive and competitive spirit overlapped with his love for his hometown. He didn't just want to win on his own. He didn't just want Humana to win. David Jones Sr. wanted Louisville to win. And he wanted the people of Louisville to come out ahead as well, to have more opportunities and to have a better quality of life. And he put time, money, and energy into making all of that happen. David Jones Sr. was a role model for business leaders who want to make a difference in our community. He was a role model for elected officials like the councilmen and senators that we have here today, and myself, who want to make a positive impact in our city. Mr. Jones has supported so many causes during his life. Education, the arts, affordable housing, downtown, and of course, our parks, including the amazing Parklands of Floyd's Fork that so many Louisvillians are enjoying today in that world-class park environment, sets a standard for all of our metro parks to live up to. Mr. Jones passed away in 2019, only a few weeks after he lost his beloved wife of 65 years, Betty. And for those who knew Mr. Jones or spent any time around him, you also knew that Betty was an integral part of David's success and their entire family's philanthropic commitment to our community. In fact, in his autobiography, which I'm excited to read during the holidays, David wrote of his days building Humana and said, quote, "Betty and I were always a team," end quote. So while we celebrate Mr. Jones and his hometown hero banner today, I think it's also important that we celebrate Betty, his number one teammate. Our city owes David and Betty and the entire Jones family a tremendous amount of gratitude for everything they have done for our city and everything that their family continues to do for our city. So it is with great honor that I am here today with my number one teammate, my wife Rachel, and that on behalf of, and that on behalf of the entire city, if Carol and David and Mary Gwen, if you could all come up, I would like to present you all with a proclamation honoring today and honoring, I won't read the entire bio, I encourage everyone to get the autobiography as Rachel and I have, but with a lot about what Mr. Jones has done for our city, for Humana, for our country and world. We honor David Jones Sr. Congratulations.
I cannot understate, or I cannot overstate the joy that we have at the YMCA, me personally, for this day. And I hope my brevity will not override or mask that excitement and appreciation of the YMCA being involved in this effort. It is very special to us, and to be part of the recognition of a citizen that was instrumental in making Louisville the great city that it is. And so, you know, last night I spoke to my predecessor, Harold Cook, who was here through the 80s and 90s, and just asked him to reflect on David Jones Sr. And what he said, he said a lot of things. But what he said was, not only did he found a great company and do all of the economic development, job creation and so forth for that, but the comment was he challenged us to make things better. That resonates with us at the YMCA, and it's a broad us. It wasn't just Humana, it wasn't just the YMCA, it wasn't just any particular, it was all of us. And I found that to be very special and very inspiring. And the other thing that they did as a function of their citizenship was they offered resources to organizations like the YMCA in the form of technical assistance, in the form of board members, which still exist today. And we're so grateful for that. You know, I only met Mr. Jones a time or two personally, but I remember a conversation that I had with him. Actually, we were talking about education at David and Mary Gwen's home. And I had the honor of getting a few minutes with him one-on-one and just talking about, he reflected on the YMCA, a place where he spent a lot of time and a place where he felt like all kinds of people could go. And these are things that we continue to strive for at the YMCA. Now, at the same time, I will tell you, and I got to understand, this is a big compliment, but I think he probably was at the Y enough, and I'm honored to share this with him, to be called a Y-rat. So this, again, that's a good thing. Don't forget. But I'm grateful for that. So that brings us to today. You know, I've watched these banners go up around the city, and frankly, I've always thought that we had a pretty good wall here. But we never had the right person. Even after a couple of inquiries that came to us, we just didn't have one to resonate. When I got the call about this, it was instant. It was instant that we're in. And I think I told Jeannie, we're in. And so we went through all that, and again, we're grateful. And it's appropriate, as was already mentioned, by Mayor Greenberg that we're using the west elevation of the building to display this sign, facing the area that David Jones Sr. grew up. And that's providential. I was talking to Carolyn and I said, God had a hand in this, at least for bringing the Y into this, and that's the reason we're so privileged. So I do believe that God's hand was in this, and I thank the hometown heroes with Mike and Jeannie. I thank the mayor's office, good friend Mayor Greenberg, Carolyn Tandy, who's a great friend and brings her beautiful smile to places here and there all over. And of course to David and Mary Gwen, proponents for our community, particularly around education and so forth. So I will just simply tell you that, two things. One is I approach retirement, which is pretty weird for me. But secondly, this tops off the 170th year of the service of the YMCA in this region. And I cannot think of anything for which we could be more proud and thankful. And so we're thankful to God. We're thankful to all of you for allowing the YMCA to participate in this beautiful recognition of an iconic citizen of our great city of Louisville, David Jones Sr. So thank you all very much.
To the Jones family, to Mayor Greenberg, to my friend Steve, and to Mike, thank you for this opportunity to be with you all today. On behalf of my Humana colleagues, I see lots of them here, here in Louisville and across the country, I'm honored to be a part of this event today and to be with you as we celebrate the placement of this banner and the life of our beloved David Jones. When David, along with his friend and colleague Wendell Cherry, founded Heritage House Nursing Home, the company that will become Humana, they had no idea that the company would be where it is today. In an interview with Business First in 1990, Mr. Jones said, quoting now, "I had no goal of becoming wealthy or to build a great company. It never occurred to me growing up in West Louisville or graduating from the University of Louisville or attending law school at Yale that anything I ever did would produce anything other than an ability to care for my family and to meet my financial obligations." Clearly, though, David's focus on always trying to do things the right way propelled him to great success in life. And I think it meant the world to him that his success had such an impact on Louisville's success. And it is so fitting that this banner hangs, Steve, on the downtown Y. David was at one time a regular here, as you may have heard. And if Mr. Jones had any say in what might be said about him today at this event, well, he'd probably say we shouldn't be doing it. But I'm sure he'd want the focus not to be on him, but on the ways his life impacted the people of his hometown. We all know about Humana, of course, the company that went from one nursing home back in 1961 to the largest nursing home company in the country, to a hospital company, and then ultimately the largest hospital company in the country. During the 1980s, Humana became its healthcare insurance company, and in the 1990s, spun off the hospitals to focus exclusively on health insurance. Today, many of us at Humana are excited that our company is getting back to its roots and offering both insurance and healthcare services through our CenterWell subsidiary that offers primary care to seniors, home health, and pharmacy services. When you think about the impact of Humana on this community, well, I wouldn't want to imagine Louisville without Humana. Across our country today, Humana employs nearly 70,000 employees with more than 10,000 based here in Louisville, Kentucky. We're proud to be such a big part of our community in this city and this downtown, and so too was Mr. Jones. As you know, David's imprint is all over this community, from his longtime support of a range of nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, the arts, and especially everything in his downtown Louisville. David grew up just a few blocks in West Louisville, where we're standing today, just west of here. And although he spent some time away from home in military service and law school, Louisville was his lifetime home. To this day, his imprint remains on the people and on the company he co-founded and on the community he loved and liked to see thrive. Again, speaking on behalf of our current Humana leader, Bruce Broussard, and the tens of thousands of employees at Humana, I can confidently say that we are proud to carry on the legacy of Mr. Jones in the ways that we can do that, serving not just the people of Louisville, but the people in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. The one nursing home that became a Fortune 50 company, the largest company based in Kentucky today, is an organization of thousands of whom is meant a great deal to help the people we serve each day, just the way David Jones helped so many people through his amazing life. I thank you.
It is a great honor and a pleasure to be here. I want to start by expressing my thanks to the Greater Louisville Pride Foundation, to the many Louisvillians who work now and have worked in the past on the selection committee to recognize all the wonderful Louisvillians who have these banners around our town, and also to Ted Wathen. Ted's already been mentioned, but it is very special to have Ted be the photographer because my dad loved Ted's work. He loved Ted's photographs of the parklands. He loved the Kentucky Documentary Project, which Ted did back in the mid-'70s and is now doing again, and it's just really special. We're also in a really special place. I'm going to talk about the YMCA in a moment, but let me just first say this parking lot under this sky and on this corner is symbolic and practically perfect. It's a JCTC parking lot, and my mother taught for many, many years at JCTC, and it's fantastic that the banner is in JCTC land, in Jefferson land. That's a wonderful thing. It's fantastic that UPS planes are flying over us, because my dad worked long and hard with Mayor Abramson, with the state government, with a lot of other folks to persuade UPS that Louisville really would be a great place. And they have been, they bring this wonderful noise into our wonderful, vibrant city. And it's also great that the noise of traffic, of busyness, of construction trucks going by is here, because a vibrant city is not a quiet city. So I think I'm just grateful to be here with such wonderful people in a place of vibrancy. I want to thank my sister Carol for being here, my wife Mary Gwen. My three other siblings are out of town. Two of them live out of town. Dan is traveling today, but I know they join me in expressing thanks to everybody. So let me just say two things, really two themes about why I'm pleased with this mural, even though I know my father would have opposed it heartily and successfully if he were still with us. First of all, Dad loved Louisville. There was no ambiguity about it. Others have already made that point. I will make it just in two ways. Mary Gwen and I moved to Louisville from Washington, D.C. at the end of 1992. We came here for 3 to 5 years. That was more than 30 years ago, and a lot of that had to do with the enthusiasm of my father, of my parents, for this place. Dad gave a high school graduation speech in 1985 that summed it up. First of all, it was much shorter than how long I've already spoken. And it concluded with the message to the graduating seniors, I know you guys are going to do great things, so I have two messages for you. Get out of town, get some education, learn something, and then come back, because anything you can do anywhere in the world, you can do right here in Louisville, Kentucky. So he was a believer, and he lived his life that way. The other thing is about the YMCA and why the Y is so important. You know, my dad was overwhelmingly competitive. If he hadn't had public parks to play in and the YMCA to play in, to do sports, to get his energy out, I don't know what would have happened, but it wouldn't have been good. So those were themes throughout his life. I would like to read, if I could, just a short passage from his autobiography, which was published last month, about the YMCA. And I'll say a couple other things and then I'll be done. So references to the Y suffuse his autobiography. Here's the quote. Throughout the 1940s, Logan, his older brother, Logan and I would walk 3 days a week from Garland Avenue to the YMCA, the old Y, the gone Y at 3rd and Broadway, for basketball, swimming, track, and gymnastics. The journey would take us through black neighborhoods back in that highly segregated, still highly segregated time in our town, where we never had a problem. And then over the fence at the L&N railroad yards. We'd get chased by the railroad cops, but they couldn't catch us young kids. We didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, so we'd walk by the Brown Hotel, put our faces up against the window, and look in at those elegant people eating there. And, you know, then get to the Y and play, and play, and play. When he got a little older, he and his older brother Logan were both boxers. And boxing was the one sport in those days that was not segregated. So they boxed a lot at the black YMCA, which was at 920 West Chestnut. And that had a huge impact on his life. It got the competitiveness out, and it brought him into contact with a lot more people in our community. Then as a young lawyer, and when he was busy starting up Humana, he played basketball every day at lunch, in the lunch games there. Pickup games, you win, you stay on the court, you lose, you go sit down. And there he got to know Buster Coleman, Louis Coleman, who in Dad's era was our greatest civil rights activist. And they formed a friendship, banging into each other at the court. I think they both had, neither of them could jump really very much, and they both kind of backed in with their posteriors, which was a special thing about my dad's basketball playing throughout his life. But their work together over the years started on the courts of this YMCA, and so much else did. So this is a fit place for this mural to hang. I want to thank everyone who has been involved with this for the honor that you do to my dad and to my whole family. Thank you, everybody.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a person very special to our board. Jeannie Hilt over here does all the work, so she makes it look easy for me. And a plug for the mayor. Don't forget that Light Up Louisville's tomorrow night downtown, so come on out. Or Saturday, excuse me. New weekend and a new date. Okay. But that concludes today's event. I'd really like to thank everybody for coming out and taking pride in Louisville and the people, including David Jones back here, who have helped make this a great city. Have a great afternoon and a great holiday season. Thank you.